One evening, Roger backed in the South Plainsville sheds looking very excited. "What put that big grin on your face?" Amber asks. "I just found out from Julie that Dave and Mr. Egan are going to choose who's going to pull the Christmas special tomorrow." The Christmas special is a train annually run by the Southern United Railroad on the weekend before Christmas. Roger always wanted to be chosen to pull the train, but he's never picked because he can be, well, shall I say, very difficult throughout the year. "I'll probably get chosen," continued Roger, "because I've been really good this year." Amber had to laugh. "You sound just like my fireman's niece." The next morning, Dave and Mr. Egan came to the sheds. "So," began Dave, "Mr. Egan and I have been talking, and we've decided who should lead the Santa train." "Who have you decided?" asked Christian. "Well," said Mr. Egan, "we've decided on Coletta." "Oh, thank you, sir. It's such a great..." "Coletta? Why me?" asked Coletta. "Because you did such a great deed by bringing the steam donkey to the electric line to help get the passengers home. We felt a new coat of paint wasn't enough, so we decided to let you pull the Christmas train." "Oh, well, thank you," said Coletta, smiling a little. "You'll have a lot of fun," said Taylor. "Yes," added Larry, "seeing all the happy passengers, especially the children." Roger was furious. All his happiness and Christmas cheer just seemed to disappear in an instant. Roger was sent to Prince to pick up 2 empty hoppers and bring them back to the yard. "Coletta. I cannot believe they picked Coletta over me. Good all year for nothing." When he finally arrived, he saw the workmen buzzing around the cars with torches. "What's going on?" asked Roger. "The brakes on these hoppers are frozen. We're trying to thaw them out." Roger was already upset, and the delay was making him more angry. "Let me just give him a bump. That'll knock the ice off." "I don't know," said his driver. "Remember what happened the last time you did that?" It'll be all right," said Roger. "I can't stand to wait around this cold anymore." So he reversed back and lurched forward. He bumped to the hoppers. He knocked the ice off the brakes all right, but they began to roll away toward the main line. Kevin was making his way along with a commuter train when he saw the hoppers headed toward him. "Look out!" he shouted. His driver applied the brakes and tried to throw Kevin into reverse, but it was too late. The hopper car smashed into Kevin. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. Bernard arrived to take the passengers away. He had also brought Mr. Egan. "Roger, that was very careless and irresponsible of you. Now we're down an engine right before the holiday. Do you have anything to say for yourself?" Roger didn't say anything. He just rolled his eyes. "Well, since you want to be disrespectful, you can go to Denville and shunt coal cars for Mr. Altz until New Year's. Is that clear?" "I guess," snorted Roger. "Do you want to make that till Valentine's Day?" "No, sir," Roger huffed. "Now, take these hoppers away immediately." And Roger did without another word. The next day, Roger arrived at Denville and began shunting. The others tried to make him feel welcome, but it didn't work. Roger would barely speak. A little later, Larry arrived. He often stops at Denville to speak to Chris before starting work on his branch line. He saw Roger with some coal cars and shouted, "I guess there's no need for Santa to bring you coal for being naughty, because you certainly have plenty of it." "Oh, go shove it down your funnel, Larry," snapped Roger. "Somebody's angry," teased Chris. Later that day, it began to snow and was due to get heavier as the afternoon went on. Chris was preparing to take a coal train to the power station in Middletown. Mr. Altz was in his office when the telephone rang. It was the power station manager. "Mr. Altz," said the power station manager, "would it be possible if Chris could bring more coal when he comes?" "I don't think that's possible," said Mr. Altz. "Chris isn't the biggest engine, and a heavy load like this will cause trouble for him, especially with this bad weather." He then paused and thought, unless... He then went to go see Roger. Roger, I'd like you to take those coal cars and add them to Chris's train, and then act as his helper engine to Middletown. Yes, sir, rumbled Roger. Soon the long coal train was ready. Chris gave a blast of his whistle and they set off. Both engines worked hard, but the snow got thicker and thicker as they reached the Piscataway Hill. As they began the climb, Roger felt like he was pushing the whole weight of the train by himself. What's going on up there? He thought to himself. And then the brakes came on and the train came to a stop. Roger was even more puzzled now. For them to stop on a steep hill in this bad weather, something had to have been wrong up there. Come on, said Roger's driver to the fireman. Let's uncouple Roger and go to the front to see what's happened. They switched tracks and rolled alongside Chris. Chris, what's the matter? Asked Roger. My sander's broken, said Chris. I can't get a good grip on the rails. Roger then had an idea. Let's switch places. How would that work? Asked Chris. I would still be no help to you. Yes, you will, Roger said confidently. You have extra sandbags, right? Yes, I do, answered Chris. Right, said Roger. We'll give a couple of bags to the brakeman. He could drop them on the rails in front of you. That way you can get a good grip and help me. It's worth a shot, said Chris. Soon the two engines were switched around. Roger then gave a great pull, and Chris began to push, with the brakeman carefully laying sand on the rails so he can get a grip. The two engines worked hard, until finally they crested the top of the hill. We've done it! We've done it! Cheered Roger. At last, they rolled into Middletown Station. They dropped off the coal cars and then headed back to Denville, where they found Larry, Taylor, and Coletta all waiting for them. When they saw them, they cheered, "Hooray for Roger!" Mr. Alt and Mr. Egan were also standing on the platform. "Well done, Roger," said Mr. Egan. "You had a brilliant idea and got the train to its destination." "Well," said Roger, "we couldn't give up and just be stranded out there. This is why I've decided," said Mr. Egan, "that you shall take the Christmas train." Roger almost couldn't believe what he had heard. "You really mean it, sir?" he asked. "Yes, I do mean it," smiled Mr. Egan. "But what about you, Coletta?" "You deserve it just as much as I do," Coletta smiled. "We're going to share the train. You'll lead the train to Middletown, and I'll haul it back." 2 days later, the Christmas train was ready. Roger was out in front, and Coletta was behind. Larry, Taylor, and Amber waited to see them off. Soon the conductor gave the all clear, and they set off. "All aboard the Christmas train!" shouted Roger happily. "We'll see you when you get back," called Larry. "Have fun," added Taylor. "We're proud of you," added Amber. As Roger and Coletta passed through stations, other engines cheered and people clapped as they passed through. It began to snow by the time they reached Middletown. The inside of Middletown was nicely decorated, and everyone was greeted by Santa Claus. Santa read everyone the story A Christmas Carol, and after some hot chocolate and snacks, it was time to head home. On their way home, they passed through the village where Roger had his accident a few days earlier. The villagers were standing around the big Christmas tree, singing Christmas carols. Roger looked at them, took a deep breath, and shouted, "Merry Christmas, everyone!" The villagers heard them and replied, "Merry Christmas, Roger!"